Yes, Parth, you're not there yesterday? Did you go through the class? Recorded class? Huh? Okay. So what will you do for the class that you missed? Just take notes from someone, go through that particular notes. Otherwise, you'll not be able to understand. Okay. So in the last class, we had discussed about printing of notes in India, right? Any doubts from last class with respect to printing of notes? Is everything clear? No doubts? So I hope everyone has understood the concept of minimum reserve system. Understood? So how many criteria are there for printing of notes? 2 criteria. First criteria says how much should be the minimum reserves? 200 crores. Second criteria, total assets should be same as the total liabilities. And what is the total notes printed by the RBI so far? 33 lakh crores. Against that, issue department has same value of assets. Okay. So in the last class, I think we had stopped at the topic of 1 rupee notes, right? Before that, do you have today's newspaper? Okay. No one has a hard copy? Okay. Huh. So if you open today's newspaper, please come to page number 8. Open page number 8, everyone. Page number 8, which is text and context. Did you all get the point? So you have this article, what will be the impact of Google antitrust case? Okay, just pay attention. We will be covering this article in great detail in the current affairs class. But I just want you guys to get a basic idea behind this particular issue about Google. Okay. All of you know about the Android operating system, right? Who do you think has developed this Android operating system? किसने develop किया है Android operating system? Okay. What Google has done, Google has developed this Android operating system. Okay. And this Android operating system, it's a free and a open software. So when I say free software means the mobile manufacturing companies which are using this software, they're not required to pay anything to Google. It is open. Anyone can use their operating system. So whenever you see any particular mobile that you purchase, any mobile that you purchase, except iPhone, because in iPhone we have a separate operating system which is iOS, right? You see, for example, any mobile like Samsung, OnePlus, then Redmi, any mobile that you see, in all that mobile phones, they use this Android operating system, right? And on this mobile, you will always get some pre-installed apps. This pre-installed apps are from Google itself. Like when you purchase a mobile phone, by default, you have some inbuilt or pre-installed mobile phone. What kind of apps you find pre-installed in a mobile phone? One is you will get this Google Chrome. Then huh? You will also get this Google Map also, right? So most of this are actually the Google's software. So let's say I'm Google, you all are mobile manufacturing companies. I'm giving you Android for free. Good for you because you're not paying me anything. But when I'm giving you something for free, I'm asking you that when you manufacture mobile phone, compulsorily you have to pre-install my apps like Chrome, Google Map, or any other, like you could say even YouTube also, because YouTube is also owned by Google company itself. Is that part clear? So what Google is trying to do is Google is trying to use its dominant position in order to eliminate its competitors. Is there any competitor to Chrome? If you want to browse, do we have any other browser apart from Chrome? Safari is on iOS, yes. UC browser is there, right? UC browser, it does not come pre-installed. You have to install it. But what is pre-installed already? Chrome. So by having this pre-installed app, Google is trying to ensure that all of us are by default using this Chrome app. Same can be said about Google Map also. Same can be said about YouTube also. So it is being said that Google is trying to abuse its dominant position. You understood this point? Apart from that, the other problem is, let's say you want to download an app on Android. To download an app, from where do you download this app? You download the app from Google Play Store. This Play Store is owned by whom? Google company itself. Let's say you are app developers. You are developing app and you want that your apps should get listed or your apps should get downloaded by others. Ultimately, from where are the majority of people downloading apps? Play Store. So I am enjoying a dominance. Let's say I'm Google, I'm enjoying dominance. And I'll say to you guys, if you want your apps to get listed on Play Store, you'll have to pay me a commission. And that commission could be 15 to 30%. You know, there are some games. There are some games, to play those games, right? Once you download, you have to pay some amount, right? And when you pay that amount, 15 to 30% of that amount goes to Google. Because Google says, I am enabling you to ensure that the users are downloading your app. Did you get the point? Is there any other place from where you can download the apps apart from Play Store? Chrome say can directly download the app, or App Store is on iOS. Any other? You must understand, just like Play Store, there are a number of websites. From that website itself, you can download the app. But mostly people do not even bother to download the apps from the websites. By default, from where we download the apps? Play Store. So what is Google doing? Google is trying to enjoy its dominance. So Google has been now imposed a kind of penalty, which Google says that it is not doing anything wrong. I'll tell you what is Google's argument. You know what Google is saying? Google is saying, theek hai, when you purchase a mobile phone, you have a pre-installed app like Chrome, Google Map, or YouTube. But are we stopping users from downloading other apps? No. It's not stopping users from downloading other apps. If you want to download UC browser, you can download UC browser, na? Obviously, because Google wants to ensure that the apps which are to be downloaded are safe, but doesn't mean that it is prohibiting the users. It's just warning the users, right? Getting it? So what Google is saying, we are not prohibiting users from downloading other apps. We are just giving the users an option where they can by default use these apps. So that is a case which is right now going on, and it has been imposed a hefty penalty. Let's see how the case pans out in future. But I hope you understood the basic idea about Google Play Store. Okay. In the current affairs class, we'll take a deep dive into this particular issue. So this is the only article which I found to be relevant from today's newspaper. If you see the business page, on business page you have about ICICI Bank minimum balance hike. Now ICICI Bank says for the new customers, in the urban areas, the minimum balance is going to be rupees 50,000 in the urban areas, metropolitan cities, which according to number of experts will deter poor people from opening bank accounts with ICICI Bank. Okay, that's the only article which is from business page which is relevant. यहाँ तक clear है सबको? Okay. So in the last class, when we are discussing about legal tender, right? Okay. So next, right? Nature of legal tender. Nature of legal tender. Okay, just pay attention. When we say nature of legal tender can either be what we call it as unlimited legal tender, or it could be limited legal tender. In the last class, we have covered what exactly is a legal tender, right? Legal tender means you are bound to accept it, right? So, in both the two cases, whether it is unlimited or limited, in both the cases, there is always an obligation to accept it, always. Remember I discussed about bank notes. If I'm paying you something in terms of bank note, you are bound to accept it. Let's see here the second part about limit on acceptance. When we say unlimited legal tender, there is no limit on acceptance. Whereas when we say limited legal tender means obligation to accept up to a certain amount. beyond certain amount, it is voluntary to accept. So please look at the difference here. When we say something as unlimited legal tender, there is no obligation to, like, there's no limit on acceptance. How much ever I give you, you should compulsorily accept it. But if something is limited legal tender, we say up to a certain amount, you are bound to accept it, compulsory. But beyond a particular level, it becomes what? Voluntary. Voluntary means it's up to you whether you want to accept it or not. Now, for example, under the RBI Act 1934, bank note is what kind of legal tender? Unlimited legal tender. So unlimited legal tender means if I'm giving you if I'm giving you 2 rupees, you're accepting it. If I'm giving you, let's say, 10,000 crores worth bank note, you should accept it. You cannot reject it. You cannot tell me that it's difficult for me to count 10,000 crore bank notes, so I'll not accept it. You should accept it. That is compulsory. What about limited legal tender? Under the RBI Act 1934, if you see 1 rupee notes or 1 rupee coins, and above. Please underline this word, above. 1 rupee coins and above. So what are the 1 rupee coins and above means? Like you have 2 rupee coins, 5 rupee coin, 10 rupee coin, and now you must be seeing this 20 rupees coins also. So if it is a 1 rupee note or 1 rupee coin and any coin which is above 1 rupee, there is obligation to accept up to rupees, how much? 1,000. So if I'm giving you 1,000 rupees worth 1 rupee coins, 1 rupee notes, you should accept it. You cannot reject it. But what do you think beyond 1,000 rupees? If I'm giving you beyond 1,000 rupees, it's up to you whether you want to accept it or not. Like you can very well tell me, I'll not accept beyond 1,000 rupees because it will become difficult for me to carry this 1 rupee coins. You could very well say me. So beyond 1,000, beyond rupees 1,000, acceptance is voluntary. Same way, for 50 paisa coins, how much do you think it is? 10, yes. Obligation to accept up to rupees 10. So if I'm saying 50 paisa coins means how many 50 paisa coins you are bound to accept? 20 50 paisa coins, because 20 into 50 means rupees 10. Beyond rupees 10, acceptance of 50 paisa coins is voluntary. ठीक है everyone? Okay, but there is something which is interesting with respect to bank notes. What has happened in India is in the Finance Act of 2017. What is this Finance Act? Generally, in the budget, we pass an act. Every year, in the budget, we pass an act. That act is called as what act? Finance Act. You'll study that in your polity classes. In the Finance Act 2017, what was so special about the year 2017? Before that, 1 year, what had happened? Demonetization had happened, right? So, Finance Act 2017 says acceptance of bank notes beyond rupees 2 lakh. Acceptance of bank notes beyond rupees 2 lakh. Look at this, what it is? Illegal. Okay. Why do you think we have come up with such a law? Basically to check the black money. So generally, people when they purchase gold or something luxury items, they tend to use that cash. So government has said you can never accept cash of more than rupees 2 lakh. It is illegal. I hope this part is clear. So there is a controversy now. RBI Act 1934 says banknote is what? Unlimited legal tender. But Finance Act 2017 says you cannot accept more than rupees 2 lakh. So what should we consider in UPSC prelims then? Finance Act or RBI Act? Always go by RBI Act. RBI Act says it is unlimited legal tender, go with unlimited legal tender. But tell me, if someone wants to purchase a car worth rupees 12 lakh, how will they purchase car then? You cannot pay cash of more than 2 lakhs, na? And how will you purchase car worth 12 lakhs then? By? You can pay cash only up to rupees 2 lakh. Additional 10 lakh, you have to pay it through internet banking like RTGS or NEFT, UPI, electronic payment you can do, but cash can never ever exceed 2 lakh. Clear with this, everyone? Please take this down. Announce for what? Forever. Forever. There's no time period as such. It is forever until the act is repealed. So understand here, the restriction is not on making payment. क्या लिखा है? Restriction is on what? Accepting payment. So you might be thinking कि government को कैसे पता चलेगा? I was expecting someone would ask me this question. कि how will government know that I have accepted cash of more than rupees 2 lakh? बैंक में तो जमा नहीं करेंगे ना. Government says accepting cash of more than 2 lakh is illegal. But how will government know that I have accepted cash of more than rupees 2 lakh? Which receipts? कौन सा receipt? You have a landlord, he's accepting rent in cash. So he's accepting rent of rupees 2 lakh every month from the tenant. All of that is cash only. So what kind of receipt does he have? Understood, Swarnim? भरत, गवर्नमेंट को कैसे पता चलेगा? सौम्या, government obviously will not know. Understand that. Government obviously will not know, but by chance, if government carries out a raid on someone's house, someone's office, and in that raid, if they get to know that someone has a cash of more than rupees 2 lakh, they'll ask him, kahan se aaya hai cash? If they're not been able to give satisfactory reply to that, then it is considered as illegal. So obviously, government will not get to know that. Okay. So only when the government has a doubt that so and so person has a black money, if they carry out a raid in their home or office, if they get huge pile of cash, only then the government will catch hold of such people. क्यों? It's very easy for these days. It has become very easy for the government, because of use of big data, AI. I was reading about a particular article 1 year back. There was a government servant from state of Madhya Pradesh. His wife was ordering every day some products from Amazon. Government looked at the shopping on the Amazon platform. And when they got to know that a lot of products have been ordered from Amazon, they carried out a raid on that office, and they got to know that this person was accepting too much of bribe. What is important for the government? Yes. Yeah. Now the income tax has gone income tax bill has gone one step ahead. They're going to scrutinize your social media accounts also, your mail also. Okay. And I don't think people like us should be afraid of. Who should be afraid of? People who are doing illegal things. हमें क्या डरना है ना? Understand that also, right? I understand. I understand. I completely understand what you're trying to say, but government should have to use such kind of data to crack down on the tax evasion. Probably, if you're talking about polity, I would say right to life, privacy, you'll agree. But because I'm an economics teacher, I'll always be in favor of these things. 1.5% of Indians pay income tax. You can understand the extent of tax evasion. Okay. Majority of people, you mean to say 45% of the people? Huh. Okay. So you mean to say that Indians are not earning good enough? If you see the per capita income of India is more than 1 lakh. It has increased. So who are earning, at least those people should be paying tax, na? You're not able to understand. Okay, but just for the sake of debate, if you see a lot of people are in the informal sector. Let's talk about a doctor. A doctor is working in a hospital. Because he's working in hospital, he is getting a regular salary, he is paying the tax. But let's assume a doctor who is running his clinic. He's part of the informal sector. This doctor who is running his clinic might be earning a income which is almost more than the doctor who is working in a hospital. But these people are not paying tax. Same can be said about the lawyers. Same can be said about the engineers. A lot of people who are part of the informal sector. How do you catch hold of those people? How do you ensure that these people pay tax? चलो वेल इट्स नॉट अ क्लास टू डिबेट अपॉन, मैं बाद में बात करूंगा आपसे, ठीक है? इज दिस पार्ट क्लियर एवरीवन? ओके, हाँ, so we are done with the nature of legal tender. Okay, next one is about uh, last one is coins. We are done with 1 rupee notes. Now we'll be doing the coins, right? Okay, with respect to coins, I guess in the last class this was the mind map that we discussed about. Okay. Okay. Let's look about the coins now quickly. We discussed about bank notes, right? As well as the 1 rupee notes. Both bank notes and 1 rupee notes were printed under which act? RBI Act 1934. But can you see with respect to coins, they are minted under the Coinage Act of 2011. So you must be thinking, कि Coinage Act came in 2011. What used to happen before 2011 then? Before 2011, there was another act of the British government. So we repealed that British era law, and now we have come up with a new act called as Coinage Act of 2011. Design and material, just like 1 rupee note, it is decided by the government itself. And you could see here, remember, irrespective of who is minting or printing the notes, the distribution is always done by who? RBI, always. So even for 1 rupee note also, the distribution is done by RBI, and even for the coins also. If you see denomination, right now there is no restriction on minimum denomination of coins. Maximum denomination can go up to how much? Rupees 1000. Do we have a 1000 rupee denomination coin? Don't have 1000 rupees denomination coin? Okay. If you go to this website, Security Printing and Minting Corporation of India. This is a government department, as you can see. If you go to this particular website, network, okay. Can you see here? Here you'll get this commemorative coins, right? Commemorative coins. If you get into that commemorative coins, what do you mean by commemorative coins? Basically, these are coins which are issued to mark some special occasions. Okay. So if you get into that commemorative coins, to mark some special occasions, government will mint some special coins like 1000 rupee coin. You can just check if in your mobile if you have. It's not working. Just open this website. On that, you'll get this commemorative coins. Okay. So can you see here, to mark some special occasions like 150 years of Bombay Stock Exchange. To mark this, the government minted a coin of 150 rupees. Same way, to mark 125th birth anniversary of a renowned person, it has minted a particular coin of rupees 125. But can you see, if you want to purchase a coin of rupees 125, how much is the value? 45, 4,500. Who are these people who are purchasing these things? Basically, people who are fond of collecting stamps, just like that. People who are fond of collecting some special edition coins. So you could purchase the coin from here to mark some special occasions. So in the past, government has printed minted coins of up to rupees 1,000 as well. Is that clear? What do you think? These coins, are they legal tender? Are they legal tender? Huh? These commemorative coins, are they legal tender? They are. They are legal tender, but and no one will be using those commemorative coins to make a payment. If I have purchased a 125 rupees coin at rupees 4,500, I will not use this coin to make payment of 125 rupees now, because the cost itself for me is 4,500. But they are actually legal tender. Clear? Okay. So you can see here. So I told you about coins also. So legal tender, what kind of legal tender they are? Unlimited or limited? Limited. And how much is the limit for 50 paisa coins? For 50 paisa coins, it is up to rupees 10. For 1 rupee coins and above, it is 1,000. Right? So can you quickly take this down? Again, I hope you understood. 50 paisa coin is minted by the government. Do not write about printing press. We'll discuss that part later. Huh. हेमंत, आपने लिख लिया? No, don't write that. That's what I told you. Done, Vaishali? Okay. Everyone is done? Swarnim? Okay. Okay, so think of it. In India, if I purchase a car, for example, worth rupees 12 lakh, and if I am trying to make payment of that entire 12 lakh rupees in the form of, let's say, bank notes, can the car dealer accept this bank note of 12 lakh? He cannot. He can accept only up to how much? 2 lakh. In terms of notes, remaining 10 lakh, it has to be done through electronic mode like RTGS. But let's say if I'm purchasing car and if I'm trying to make payment in terms of 1 rupee coin, 12 lakh ka car. My question is, can the car dealer accept it? And my question is, can he accept it? He is bound to accept up to how much? 1000. Beyond 1000, as we discussed, it is voluntary. And can you see what has happened here? एक बार देखो what people have done. Man buys 12 lakh Mahindra Bolero using only 1 rupee coin. So this person took 12 lakh worth 1 rupee coin, went to car showroom and purchased a Mahindra Bolero car. Why did the showroom accept that much amount of coins? Don't you think it is too much cumbersome for them to count 1 rupee coin? In spite of that, they still accepted the coins. क्या reason हो सकता है? They will not? नहीं, tax, nothing. It is pure marketing strategy और कुछ नहीं है. So you must understand, this particular article had appeared in the Hindu newspaper. So it is like an open publicity for Mahindra Bolero car, right? Otherwise, if you want to put your ad on the front page of the Hindu newspaper, the ad itself would cost somewhere around 3 to 4 lakhs. ये तो free का publicity हो गया, just by accepting coins worth rupees 12 lakh. Yes, it is cumbersome, I understand, to count, but it is good for them because it's a free marketing publicity. Clear, everyone? Okay. This is the summary of our discussion. Can you see the summary of our discussion now? It's about banknote, currency note, as well as coins. When I say currency note, generally I'm referring it to 1 rupee note, but we discussed even 1 rupee note is also called as 1 rupee coin. So just take your time. Generally, I always keep telling students that when you study something, after studying something, you just have to make your short notes. A short notes where you find everything at one particular place so that it becomes a source for your quick revision. So this is that quick revision for you guys. So everything that you need to know with respect to bank note, currency note, and coins, that is there here. Okay? Similarly, like when you study your polity, right? In polity, one of the most confusing thing that you'll study is about parliamentary committees. Abhi aane wala hai, don't worry. So when you study about parliamentary committees, you'll study about estimates committee, public accounts committee, committee on public sector undertakings, multiple committees. Even now, I get confused ki how many members are there in which committee, and whether it's a Lok Sabha committee or a Rajya Sabha committee, or for that matter, who is the chairperson of that committee. It's very, very confusing. For such things that are very confusing, the best way to revise is by this table. Don't you think you can prepare that kind of table for your parliamentary committees as well? Like you could have estimates committee, the committee on public sector undertakings, and so on. and then the criteria. If you have everything at one particular place, it becomes easier for you to quickly revise. So I will be sharing this thing in the PDF. Leave some space to incorporate this. Okay, leave some space to incorporate this. Are we done now, everyone? Okay. So let's move to the next one, that is role of RBI as a banker to the government. Role of RBI as a banker to the government. Please leave some space, this much, okay? Chalo, we'll take up the questions. Anil, we'll start with you. Did we, no, I think, no, I don't think we have taken up the questions for discussion, no? Second one is? Two only, you mean to say? Aditya? Huh? Two only. Hemant? Anyone else? One and two only, Parth? Vaishali? Soumya? C? Bharat? Okay, Soumya, why do you think it is C, not B? Hemant, you're saying answer is two only. Why not one? Why is one wrong? सेंट्रल तो वहां पे क्या लिखा है? Anil, what's wrong in statement one? I'm not getting it. What's wrong in statement one? I just converted a positive statement to negative statement. That's it. The positive statement is only the government can mint the coins. This is a positive statement. That positive statement को मैंने negative statement बना दिया कि RBI cannot mint coins, which is right only, ना? The RBI does not enjoy the authority to mint coins. It is true. All the coins minted by the government are issued for circulation only through RBI. Minting of coins is not under RBI Act 1934. It is under the Coinage Act of 2011. Okay. Parth. Yes, Harshik, we can accept 12 lakh as coins, but not bank notes. Huh. Aditya, you are going to regret it. अच्छे से पढ़ो statement. हाँ, sure. Only two? हाँ, Bharat? Why? Please read the statement carefully. The 1 rupee notes are printed by the government. यहाँ तक तो ठीक है. With the signature of, you don't have the signature of Union Finance Minister. You have the signature of Union Finance Secretary. Right, Parth? Okay. Vaishali, which among the following best describes the concept of seigniorage? Profits earned by the central bank on printing currency notes. I think this is easy. Varun. RBI needs to maintain certain minimum reserves to print banknote. It is right. The RBI Act 1934 imposes quantitative limit. There is no quantitative limit. Answer is 1 only. Chalo, theek hai. Let's move to the next one. The next one is RBI as a banker to the government. Write down RBI as a banker to the government. Okay, just see here. This is the question from prelims 2013 and this is the question from prelims 2012. The question says the RBI regulates the commercial banks. If you read any textbook, they'll just mention one line that RBI is a regulator of banks. That's it. But you know, here, what has UPSC asked? Because UPSC knows कि सबको पता है कि RBI is a regulator. But people don't know what role does RBI perform as a regulator. This is something people don't know. And that is what RBI has targeted that thing. Same way, look at this question. The RBI acts as, yes, what is mentioned here? Bankers Bank. In any book you read, they'll just mention one word that RBI is a banker to the banks. But what role does RBI perform as a banker to banks? It is not mentioned. And that is what UPSC has targeted. So I can just tell you one line saying that RBI is a banker to government and I can say that chalo khatam ho gaya. But it is doing injustice to you guys because looking at the nature of questions, UPSC will not ask you directly. Rather, UPSC will ask you as a banker to government, which role or functions is the RBI performing. Yahan tak clear hai? Okay. So let's understand the role of RBI as a banker to the bank. Banker to the government. Okay. Now just think here. It's not rocket science. It's very, very easy. Now for example, let's say this is me and I say that for me, ICICI Bank is my banker. I say that this bank is my banker. 30 seconds. Tell me what role is this bank performing on my behalf? Did you get my question? When I say that my bank is ICICI Bank, it means it is doing something on my behalf. Na? What it is doing? One, Anil says it is accepting deposits. Good. It will give me loans whenever I am in need of money. Then? हाँ, ठीक है. उसी को पॉइंट को सेम पॉइंट डिपॉजिट को 2 पॉइंट में बता दिया आपने. चलो ठीक है. देन हाँ, दैट्स इट. डिपॉजिट हो गया, लोन एक हो गया. उसके अलावा सोचो व्हाट एल्स. हाँ, वो डिपॉजिट को 30 वाला पॉइंट निकाल दिया आपने. यस, थिंक. हाँ, गुड सौम्य. हाउ? What Samay is trying to say is this bank will help me to accept payment or make payment. So just pay attention. When I say that this bank is my bank, first thing is I have to open an account. That's the first thing I have to do. Second thing, after opening an account, I would have to maintain certain minimum balances. Third, it will give me loans whenever I am in need of money. Fourth, this bank will also help me to accept payment or make payment. For example, let's say I am accepting payment. What kind of payment I may be accepting? Let's say I'm accepting salary. So whenever I'm getting salary, the salary is getting credited into my bank account. It is helping me accept the payment. Let's say I want to make payment. What payment I'm making? Let's say on a monthly basis, I'm paying my rent, I'm paying my electricity bill, I'm paying my water bill, LPG connection bill. So it is through my bank account I'm making the payment, right? So it is a bank which will help me in making the payment. Apart from all of this, the bank will also give me advice on how best to manage my finances. Is this part clear, everyone? So if for me, ICICI Bank is performing this role, for the government, someone should be doing this role. So for the government, it is RBI which is acting like a banker. First thing, government must open an account with whom? RBI. Second thing, government must maintain minimum balances with the RBI. Whenever government is in need of money, to the government, RBI will give loans. Varun, what is that loan called as? Good, Varun. Good. It is called as ways and means advances. Parth, what kind of payment does the government accept? No, like when I say payment, what kind of payment does the government accept? RTGS, NEFT is a mode of making payment. No, I'm saying what payments does the government accept? Hemant? One of the best thing is tax. No? All of us, we pay tax to the government. Like who is helping the government to accept the payment? The RBI. Apart from tax, Shiva, what else do we make payment to government? Tax we pay to the government. Apart from tax, think. Huh? Toll you are saying. Okay, toll. Then Bharat, सोचो गवर्नमेंट को पेमेंट ही नहीं करते हो क्या आप टैक्स के अलावा? समय like you violate a traffic rule, traffic challan, you pay a penalty to the government, right? Let's say you use electricity connection, electricity bill, you're making it payment to the government. Water bill, you're making payment to the government utility. LPG connection also, you're making payment to the government entity. So there are so many payments that we make to the government. ट्रेड से बेनिफिट कैसे? हाँ, or else let's say you visit a public park, you visit a public park which is maintained by the government, or we visit a monument which is maintained by Archaeological Survey of India. All of that payment you're making to the government, entry fee to the monuments, right? All of that is a payment. Government is also making payment. Aditya, what payment is the government making? Government is also making payment. What kind of payment does the government make? To whom is the government paying, making payment? Huh? Like government is paying salaries. Government is making payment of salaries, na? Salaries, pensions, subsidies, exactly. Or if a construction of a road project is awarded to a contractor, to the contractor they will make the payment. So there are so many payments which the government is making. All of the payment is handled by the RBI. Do you understand what is the meaning of role of RBI as a banker? Foreign ke payment as in like? No, it's only for the government. Government कौन सा एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा है? Generally, import and export is done by the private sector, not the government. Let's say government is not directly exporting something, it is the private sector or the government owned entities which might be exporting. Okay, जैसे कि कोल इंडिया लिमिटेड है, कोल इंडिया लिमिटेड में एक्सपोर्ट कोल, बट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज नॉट इनटू ट्रेडिंग बिजनेस, अंडरस्टैंड दैट. ओके, व्हाट अबाउट द, हाँ 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 हाँ, इवन इफ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट pays loans to the state government and the state government is making repayment of that loan, RBI will enable the government to accept the payment. We'll come to that. That's the next part. Don't worry. Yada clear hai? Okay. Now, if you see the legal framework, law says that RBI has a right as well as obligation to act as banker to the center. Look at the word. Under the RBI Act 1934, if you read carefully, it says that RBI has a right as well as obligation to act as banker to the center. So when I say that RBI has a right, what does it mean? When I say that RBI has a right, means central government cannot give these roles to anyone other than RBI. ये RBI का right है. And when I say that RBI has an obligation, if I am RBI, if the government is asking me to do this thing, I cannot say to government कि I'm already overburdened, मैं अपना काम नहीं करूँगा. I cannot say that. This is my obligation. I have to do it. Is that clear? But when it comes to states, state government, RBI neither has right nor obligation. When I say RBI neither has right, means state government can give these roles to anyone other than RBI. And when I say RBI does not has obligation, if state are giving this role to RBI, RBI can say, I will not do it because I am already overburdened. समझ में आया सबको? Understood, Anil? But if you see the present, what has happened, the law says that RBI has no right, obligation to act as banker to the states. But what has happened is RBI has entered into agreement with all the states except to act as their banker. Legally, it is not a right. Legally, it is not an obligation. But what RBI has done, RBI has entered into agreement with all the states in India except one state. Any idea which state it is? Surname कौन सा हो सकता है state? हाँ वरुण, you read somewhere? हाँ तो other states also got merged ना. But why only Sikkim? But anyway, you are right. Except Sikkim. For all the states, right now RBI is acting like a banker except the state of Sikkim. Then who do you think is doing that role for state of Sikkim then? No, it is not State Bank of India. In Sikkim, they have their own government. Sikkim का खुद का एक बैंक है, which is State Bank of Sikkim. And please don't confuse the State Bank of Sikkim with State Bank of India. It has nothing to do with SBI. The State Bank of Sikkim is owned by Sikkim government. So Sikkim, as you know, got merged into Indian Union in 1975. So before it got merged into Indian Union, in Sikkim, this role was performed by State Bank of Sikkim. So Sikkim government said, for us, already State Bank of Sikkim is doing the role. Will not give this role to RBI. Is this part clear? Okay. So this is a legal framework. And if you see present mechanism, this is the most important. Please pay attention. Present mechanism, what it is. RBI is required, I am repeating, RBI is required to perform all of these role for the government. It is required to do so. But the problem is RBI is already overburdened. Can you tell me what are the roles performed by the RBI? It is controlling inflation. It is printing notes. It is regulating banks. Then it is regulating payment and settlement system. It is controlling the exchange rate. So RBI is already overburdened. And on top of that, if you say RBI to do all of this thing, RBI will not be able to do justice to its role. So what RBI has done, it is performing this role. It is performing this role. It is performing this role. It is also performing this role. Only one role, which is what? Accepting or making payment. So presently, acceptance or making payments, what RBI has done, this role RBI has transferred to what it calls as agency bank. This agency bank could be a public sector bank. I hope you know what is public sector bank. A bank which is owned by government, or it could be a private bank. So what RBI is doing, RBI says, I am already overburdened with this thing. So I am transferring this role to a agency bank. And what happens is all the ministries and government departments, they have been allocated to a specific agency bank. Example, let's say, so you have a finance ministry. Finance ministry may have been allocated to, yes, which bank? SBI. So whenever finance ministry is accepting payment or making payment, it is not routed through RBI. It is routed through State Bank of India. So if you are making tax payment, your income tax, you are not making tax payment to RBI. You are making tax payment through State Bank of India. समझ में आया? Why do these banks do that work of RBI? क्या मिलता है उनको? Obviously no one will do the work free of cost, na? So when they do the work of RBI, RBI will pay them some amount of commission. They earn commission on that. So what RBI has done, RBI has basically sought to, yes, what it has sought to done? It has sought to reduce its burden. So only the designated branches of agency banks, not all the branches, please see this, only the designated branches of agency bank will be acting like a banker to the government. Like state, agar when I say that finance ministry, it's not that in all the branches of SBI finance ministry will be having an account. In one specific branch in Delhi, it will be having a bank account. Same way, Ministry of Defense. For Ministry of Defense, the agency bank could be like HDFC Bank. And in one particular branch of HDFC, Ministry of Defense will be having its bank account through which it will be accepting and making the payment. Please take your time, go through this. Any doubts here? Okay, please write banker to the government. Huh? Both. Government will open an account with the RBI, and in that account, the government will also maintain minimum balances. Apart from that, in the agency bank, the particular government ministry or department will also have an account through which it will accept and make payment. So, right, as a banker to the government, as a banker to the government, comma, RBI performs the following rules. RBI performs the following rules. Number 1, require the government to open an account. Require the government to open account. Second, maintain minimum balances with the RBI. Maintain minimum balances with the RBI. Third, give loans in the form of ways and means advances. Give loans in the form of ways and means advances. Next, accept / make payments. Accept / make payments. In the bracket, write remittances. Remittances. Basically, that is what is remittances, like getting money or sending money. Remittances. Remittances. Remittances is nothing but getting money or sending money. Okay. Next is provide advice to the government. Provide advice to the government. After that, write legal framework. Legal framework. Okay. Under that legal framework, you can write down. Under the RBI Act 1934, under the RBI Act 1934, comma, the RBI has a right. Under the RBI Act 1934, RBI has a right and obligation. RBI has a right and obligation to act as banker to the center. To act as banker to the center. However, there is no such right or obligation. However, comma, there is no such right or obligation on the RBI to act as banker to the states. To act as banker to the states. Next para. Presently, RBI has entered into agreement presently RBI has entered into agreement with all the states except Sikkim to act as their banker to act as their banker. Last part, present mechanism. Present mechanism. Presently, the RBI has outsourced. The RBI has outsourced. I hope you know the meaning of outsource. Outsource means transfer, right? If you're getting confused, in the bracket write transfer. Presently, RBI has outsourced, in the bracket transferred, its role of accepting slash making payment. Its role of accepting slash making payments to the agency banks. To the agency banks. Full stop. These agency banks could either be public sector banks, or private banks. Could either be public sector banks or private banks. Full stop. Next para. All the government ministries and departments have been allocated to specific agency banks. Full stop. Only the dedicated designated branches of agency banks can carry out the role of accepting or making payments. Okay, so there's an online student. Let me see how many of you will be able to answer his doubt. His question is, this agreement between RBI and the state government, is it mandatory for the states? It's not at all mandatory, because the law does not put any kind of right nor obligation. So state government can obviously give this role to any other bank. It is obviously not mandatory, right, under the law. Second part of the question is, how many states have agreed to it? All except who? Sikkim. I have already explained. All the states have agreed to this except the state of Sikkim. Harshik, I hope it is clear. Okay. So we are done with this role of RBI as a banker to the government. Let me just show you the questions. Yes, please answer this practice question. Swarnim? Ashu? Hemant? Why third one is not right, Swarnim? Hmm? Bharat? Minimum तो रखना है ना उनको. I told you, right? They first have to open an account. After opening account, they have to maintain minimum balances also. Right, Swarnim? So what is the confusion? कौन सा switch किया आपने? You thought about accepting or making payment? Voila. So I think Shiva also was having the same confusion. I told you, na, कि a particular ministry or department would have to open an account with the RBI also and with the agency bank also, right? So the right answer in this case is all the three. Vaishali. C means statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. The RBI has a right and obligation to act as banker to the state government. This is wrong. There's no such right or obligation. But RBI, can it act like a banker to state government? It can by entering into an agreement. That's what we covered. Right now, it is acting like a banker to all the states except state of Sikkim. Is it visible? Parth is not. Aditya, it's visible to you as well. भरत, आपको तो विजिबल है ना? RBI carries out the general banking business of the government. Okay, only public sector banks are allowed to act as agency banks. Only public sector banks, both public sector banks and private banks. Only designated branches of agency banks can conduct the government banking business. RBI carries out the general banking business of the government through its own offices as well as commercial banks. Through its own office also, because it is also asking the advice वगैरह वो देता है, and it's also asking the government to open an account. It is asking the government to maintain the minimum balances. So right answer in this case is only 2. Hemant, confused somewhere? Come again? Why? No, but it is carrying out the functions of a banker through its own offices as well as commercial bank. इसमें गलती क्या है? हाँ, but it's on the obligation on the RBI. But like I said, because RBI is overburdened, some of its functions is transferred to commercial bank. No, it is correct. No, technically it is correct because RBI is carrying out its role as a banker through its own offices also, through the to the commercial banks, agency banks. And the best way I'll tell you, ये statement RBI के website से है. अभी confusion नहीं है? चलो ठीक है. If I say directly from the horse mouth, then only you'll keep quiet. ठीक है? Okay. चलो. Then we'll move to the next part. Role of RBI as a debt manager. And please mark that as very important. Role of RBI as a debt manager. Today is the fourth class, right? Role of RBI as a debt manager. Okay, under this you write basics to understand. Basics to understand. Number one, meaning of debt. Meaning of debt. Second, why does the government borrow money? Why does the government borrow money? Next, sources of government borrowings. Sources of government borrowings. Next, purpose of government borrowings. Okay, so we'll start with the very basics and then we'll get into the role of RBI as a debt manager. Okay? So let's start with the first one. What is the meaning of debt? So right, meaning of debt. Meaning of debt. Meaning of debt. Debt refers to the borrowings by the government. Debt refers to the borrowings. Debt refers to the borrowings. Debt refers to borrowings. In most simple words, when we say debt, debt का मतलब है money which the government or anyone for that matter is borrowing. If the company is borrowing money, even for that company also we call it as debt. Like I told you, the company is borrowing money through bonds. That is also called as debt. But because we are talking about government, we will be discussing predominantly about the government borrowings. Let's move to the second part. Why does the government borrow money? Right. Why does the government borrow money? Okay. As discussed already, in a developing country such as India, the amount of tax which the government collects, this is quite less as compared to the expenditure which the government is required to make. So, because the government has to spend more, but the amount of money that it gets in the form of taxes is less, the only option for the government is to borrow money. But tell me, why should we borrow money? What we can instead do is how much ever tax we're getting, na, only that much money we should spend. Why should we spend more money then? Can anyone tell me logically why should the government spend more money? Like my question is something like this. If the government is collecting 100 rupees tax, government should spend 100 rupees only. Why should the government spend 150 or 200? One, I get it. Like India is a welfare state. We have to take care of the welfare of our citizens. A large chunk of a population is still living below the poverty line. We have to take care of their basic needs. What are the basic needs of the people? Like in India, we are constructing them house. For housing, we have a scheme called as Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Once a house is constructed, for construction of toilet, we have Swachh Bharat Mission. For providing the house with the drinking water connection, we have Jal Jeevan Mission. For giving them with electricity connection, we have a scheme called as Saubhagya scheme. For providing them with LPG connection, we have a scheme called as Ujjwala scheme. So can you see what poor people need? Na? All of that we are providing them under different schemes and policies because we are a welfare state. That is one thing. Second, what's the other reason why should government spend more? Huh? To be? That is more political, na? That is more political. I want economic reason. Why should government spend more? It will promote growth and development. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm saying. We should spend more because it will lead to growth and development. I'll just give you one important data about growth and development. If you see railways, sure, when was the first railway line laid down in India? First railway line, when was it laid down? Bharat? 1853, from which place? Bombay to Thane. This was the first railway line which was laid down in India, 1853. When British left India, right? If you see 1951, when British left India, the total route length of railways, it was already 50,000 kilometers. British had already laid on route length of 50,000 kilometers. 75 years of India's independence, 2023. Varun, how much do you think is the route length of India now? Take a guess how much it should be approximately. It should obviously. He is playing very safe. He is saying increase होना चाहिए. हाँ, obviously मुझे भी पता है increase होगा, but कितना increase होना चाहिए? Double? At least double? नहीं? कितना हुआ होगा फिर? How much is the total route length in India now? Just 65,000 kilometers. 75 years of India's independence, our achievement is we have added 15,000 kilometers of route length. That's it. What we have basically done when British left India, most of the railway line was narrow gauge. That narrow gauge we converted into broad gauge. So obviously railways need huge amount of investment. Like it is being said, every year 5 crore passengers do not get a confirmed ticket. 5 crore passengers, which clearly shows that there is a lot of money which has to be invested in railways. And have you seen the plight of Indian railways, railway stations in India? Have you ever visited Nizamuddin railway station? When I came from South India for the first time to Delhi, my interaction with Delhi was Nizamuddin railway station. For me, it was a cultural shock. To tell you very seriously, it was a cultural shock. And I said to my parents, I just want to go back from Delhi. But later I saw central part of Delhi, Lieutenant's Delhi. That is when I realized that Delhi is not that bad as I thought. Getting it? So you have seen the state of railway stations in India. We need more money to invest. Same way, if you see road network in India, right? We have expanded the road network in India drastically in the last 10 years. But even today, the problem is our roads can be categorized into different categories like village roads, district roads, state highways, and national highways. National highways today, national highways now, they account for just 2% of the total road length, but they carry 40% of the road traffic, which shows that there is too much burden on national highways. So don't you think we should spend more amount of money on national highways in India? From where will you get this money to spend on national highways? Can we rely only on tax? Obviously not. So, government has to borrow money for basically two purposes. One, like we discussed before, for the welfare of the people, and the second one, to ensure growth, especially if you want to create world class infrastructure. To create that world class infrastructure, government would have to borrow money. You must have seen these days we are creating world class airports. Can you tell me the latest airport which has been built by government? Which one? Xavier Airport? अभी बन रहा है वो तो. It is still in the process. Which airport has already been built? No idea? Huh? Ayodhya, I think Ayodhya railway station has been built. It has got modernized recently. But number of airports have been built, like Bangalore International Airport, T2 terminal. It has got built recently. And if you look at this T2 terminal, right, it is considered to be one of the most beautiful airports in India. Same can be said about the T3 terminal in India as well. Okay, in Delhi. Okay. So from where we'll get this money? Obviously by borrowing only. So write down. Why does the government borrow money? Right? The tax paid by the government, the tax collected by the government, the tax collected by the government, the tax collected by the government is lower as compared to its expenditure, as compared to its expenditure. Huh? Both mean the same. Both mean the same. We'll discuss that in detail in the public finance. Okay. Full stop. Continue. Hence the government would have to borrow money. Hence the government would have to borrow money for the following purposes. Hence the government would have to borrow money for the following purposes. Number one, promote welfare. Number one, promote welfare. Second, promote growth and development. Promote growth and development by investing in infrastructure. Promote growth and development by investing in infrastructure. ठीक है. Next, Varun, what's the next dimension which I mentioned? Why does sources of borrowing? No? So right, sources of borrowing. Okay. Now with respect to source of borrowing, from where is the government borrowing money? Government can borrow money from within India, or it could borrow money from outside India. Whenever the government is borrowing money from outside India, that borrowings is managed by Ministry of Finance. When the government is borrowing money within India, that borrowings are managed by RBI. So please understand when I say that RBI is a debt manager to the government. Which kind of borrowings is RBI managing? Not the external borrowings. It is managing the internal borrowings within India. From outside India, from where is the government borrowing money? We can borrow money from outside India from, yes, international organizations like IMF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, etc. Apart from that, we can also borrow money in a bilateral way. Bilateral borrowings. When I say bilateral borrowings means we are borrowing money from other countries. Usually India has stopped borrowing money from other countries now. Now if at all we borrow money from outside India, it's mainly from international organizations. We are not discussing this now. What are we discussing? Because we are discussing the role of RBI as a debt manager, we are discussing the internal borrowings. Within India, from where do you think RBI borrows money? Sorry, the government borrows money. One is obviously from the RBI itself, then? Like? Okay, then? सोचो इंडिया में ज्यादा पैसा किसके पास रहेगा? लोगों के पास रहेगा, people like you and me. Then banks, in financial institutions, right? So within India, the government can obviously borrow money from, number one, RBI. Second, it can borrow money from financial institutions like banks or insurance companies or pension fund companies, or these days, I hope you must have heard about this, mutual fund companies. And if you are wondering what are insurance, pension and mutual fund companies, that's a different topic altogether. We'll discuss that part later. But I hope at least you know this. These are the financial institutions. Apart from that, it can also borrow money from what is called as, look at this, retail investors. When we say something as retail, I hope you must have heard of this word, no? Wholesale and retail. Wholesale means bulk. Retail means small quantity. So when we say retail investors, these are the investors who don't invest a lot of money. These are the investors who invest small amount of money. And who are these retail investors, by the way? These are the individuals like you and me. So we can also lend our money to the government. How we can lend money? We'll come to that part later. Now though we are just discussing the basics. Apart from that, we have a specific category of investors in India. I must have told you in the current affairs class, we call these investors as primary dealers. Who are the primary dealers? Primary dealers are basically entities authorized by RBI to buy government securities. Remember I told you government securities? If US government is issuing bond, what is it called as? US treasury bonds. If bond is issued by Indian government, we call it as government security. So primary dealers are the entities who have been authorized by the RBI to buy the government securities. And these primary dealers, they are categorized into two types. दो टाइप्स के होते हैं प्राइमरी डीलर्स. वन, we call them as bank primary dealers. When I say bank primary dealers, means all the banks in India by default, when they get a banking license, na, along with the banking license, they'll also get a license of a primary dealer. So all the banks in India like ICICI, HDFC, SBI, all these banks can also purchase the government securities. Second type is non-banking primary dealers. These are specialized institutions. Specialized institutions which are not banks, but उनका काम ही क्या है? Their role is to buy government securities. And why do they buy government securities? When you purchase government security, you earn interest on that. That is why they purchase the government securities. Examples of that non-bank primary dealer include, there is an organization or an entity called as ICICI Securities. All of you have heard about this ICICI bank. This is a bank, but ICICI Securities, what it is? Non-banking primary dealer. Same way, you have heard of this bank, Kotak Bank, सुना है सबने? Similar to that, we have an entity called as Kotak Securities. And then we have another entity called as Discount and Finance House of India. In short, we call it as DFHI. ठीक है? Everyone? So just know 1, 2, 3, 4. And within the fourth category, you have two more categories. All these entities can lend their money to the government. ठीक है? Everyone is clear? I'm deliberately not using the word NBFC. Okay, we'll come to that topic of NBFC later. Can you quickly take this down about the sources of borrowings? So you need to get a license of a primary dealer. Once you get a license of a primary dealer, you can purchase the government securities then. Okay. वो भी गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज नहीं, उसको उनको लाइसेंस देने की जरूरत नहीं है. आप और मैं जो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, हमें भी we can also purchase government securities from the RBI without license. I'll be discussing that part later, don't worry. No, investment is not borrowing ना. Investment अगर आप अट्रैक्ट करें तो उसको वापस देने की तो जरूरत नहीं है ना. And please mark that in star mark. The internal and external borrowings. You should not get confused that RBI is managing only what kind of borrowings? Internal borrowings. Please also incorporate the examples of non-banking primary dealers. ICICI Securities, Kotak Securities, Discount and Finance House of India. Securities are not investors, Ashima. Securities basically means bonds, okay? And people who purchase the bonds, we call them as investors. So securities and investors both are different. Huh. No, no, we have, let's say Kotak is a com company. Under Kotak parent company, you could have Kotak Bank and Kotak Securities. ICICI is a parent company. Under ICICI parent company, you have ICICI Bank and ICICI Securities. So these two are different, but they belong to a same parent company. Huh? To license. It's like saying in Tata and Sons, you have TCS and you have Tata Motors. Both are two different companies, na? Same way, within ICICI, we have ICICI Bank and ICICI Securities, which are two different companies. Has everyone taken down? Okay, chalo. Uh, so you have understood the source of borrowings, right? Next is duration of borrowings. Next one is duration. Huh? Purpose. First write duration, then we'll come to purpose. Duration of borrowings. Duration of borrowings. Okay. So government, whenever it borrows money, government may borrow money either for short term or government may borrow money for long term. But when I say short term, long term, don't you think there should be some objective criteria to say ki this is short term and this is long term? In economy, by default, whenever we say short term, remember, short term in economy means always how much? Less than 1 year. Long term, by default, is always more than 1 year. So government may borrow money for less than 1 year also, or it may borrow money for more than 1 year also. That's it. Let's take this down. Ashima, do not worry. Investors will purchase different instruments in the capital market. Investors can purchase shares, bonds, debentures. So there are multiple instruments which can be purchased, but that is not what we are focusing on. Right? We'll discuss that in the chapter of capital market. Clear, Ashima? Last one. Purpose of borrowings. purpose of borrowings. Okay, with respect to purpose of borrowings, government may borrow money for basically two purpose. This is a very confusing part. Just pay attention. One, government may borrow money for what is called as financing its deficit. That is first. Or government may borrow money for addressing temporary mismatches in cash balances. And let me tell you, this is very, very confusing. Financing deficit and temporary mismatches in the cash balances. What I will do, I will explain this using a layman example, which you can easily correlate from day-to-day life. After understanding this from a layman's perspective, we will extend this to a technical example, and we'll see what is financing deficit and what is temporary mismatch in cash balances. Okay? Let's say that in your college, for example, there is a friend of yours, just as an example. And let's say this particular friend, he gets his pocket money every month. First of every month, he gets a pocket money. And let's say he's getting a pocket money of rupees 10,000. And let's say this friend of yours is very, very efficient in managing the finances. When I say efficient in managing finances means how much money he gets, the same amount of money he is spending also. So he is getting a pocket money of 10,000 and he or she is also spending just 10,000. Extreme rare situation actually. You won't find such people. 10,000 मिलता है उनको, they will be spending 12,000. It's very rare, but I'm just giving an example. ठीक है? So can I say the receipt which they are getting and the expenditure which they are getting, spending, both are perfectly same, right? Let's say suddenly in one of the, let's say you're an engineer, in one of the particular semester, your friend has flunked. He or she has failed the exam. So you know that in engineering or any other exam, in the next semester you can rewrite the exam. है ना? And to rewrite the exam, you will have to pay the exam fee once again. Generally people in engineering, they don't inform their parents कि मेरा back लगा है ना? You know that. So people will say, हाँ हाँ सारे पेपर clear हो गए मेरे. So let's say this friend of yours has not informed parents saying that he or she had a back. Suddenly one particular month, their expenses has increased to 2,000. But how much pocket money they're getting for 1 month? 10,000. But for that particular month, how much money they got to spend? 12,000. समझ में आया? Does it happen repeatedly? No, it's only the rare situation where the expenditure can be more than the receipts. This friend of yours will come to you. Obviously cannot call up his parents to ask for additional 2,000 rupees because parents will ask him कि कहाँ क्यों चाहिए, right? So the friend of yours comes to you and he says, I need additional 2,000 rupees. So the friend here, for example, decides to borrow rupees 2,000. What is his receipt now for that particular month? 12,000. How much is his expenditure? 12,000. What has your friend done basically? He has addressed temporary mismatches in the cash balances. When do you think your friend will pay back the money? Let's say he's a very ideal friend. He will repay the money next month. So next month, what he will do, he will get 10,000 pocket money. What he will do, he will repay 2,000 rupees. And as far as his expenditure is concerned, he will reduce his expenditure by 2,000 rupees because he has to manage somehow, right? So what your friend has done, your friend has addressed temporary mismatches in the cash balances. He borrows money and the borrowed money he repays in the next month itself. And from where does he get the money to repay the money? From his own receipt, from his own pocket money. समझ में आया सबको? Is everyone clear with this? But these kind of friends are very rarity. You know that, right? So you have given your money to a friend. He will say for sure कि next month, no matter what, as soon as I get my pocket money, I'll come running to you and pay you back. But you call up your friend, he does not pick up the phone. You're walking on a corridor, you see your friend coming in front of you, he will change the corridor or the lane. And he will completely go incognito, right? And it might have so happened that the semester is done, engineering is done, everything has happened, and yet the friend is not repaid that loan. इसको क्या बोलेंगे? What has your friend done? Financing deficit. If it is short term, if it is borrowing is short term, what we will call this as? Temporary mismatches. If the borrowing is long term, then we will call it as financing deficit. I'll give you, this is a layman understanding. I'll give you a real understanding from the government's perspective. Okay? Let's say the financial year, as you know, starts on April. So let's say April, May, June, July, August, so on. It goes on until March. And in each of the month, the government is getting some money. In each of the month, the government is required to spend the money. Let's say for the month of April, government is getting rupees 10. But in the month of April, government is required to spend 20 rupees. Next month, May, it might so happen that government may be getting 20 rupees. But the government may be required to spend just 10 rupees. I hope you are getting this point. Now, let's say if you add up all of this, entire receipt, total. I'm just giving an example. Let's say the total receipt is coming to be 100. Total receipt is 100. And total expenditure is coming out to be 150 rupees. In the month of April, government can borrow rupees 10. This money which the government borrows, what it can do, it can repay this rupees 10 in the next month or not. इसको क्या बोलेंगे हम? Temporary mismatches. Addressing temporary mismatches. But let's say in rest of the months, in rest of the months, let's say every month the government is borrowing money. Every month it is borrowing money. and that money it is not repaying back in that same year. If it is not repaying back in the same year, when will it repay? Probably next year. तो ये जो बोरिंग रहेगा ना, इसको क्या बोलेंगे? Financing the deficit. So if you see how much money did the government get? 100. How much money did the government spend? 150. So how much is the financing deficit? कितना हो गया? 50 rupees. Clear? Did you understand the difference between financing deficit and addressing temporary mismatches? Okay. Please take your time. अगर अभी भी confusion है तो feel free to ask. Shiva, clear? So in simple words, I'm repeating, when we say addressing temporary mismatches, government will borrow money and that borrowed money it will repay back in the same year. From where will it repay back the money? From its own receipts. Then it is addressing temporary mismatches. If government borrows money but fails to repay that money in the same year, then it becomes financing deficit. That's it. Okay? So please write. Purpose of borrowing. The government may borrow money. The government may borrow money for financing deficit, or addressing temporary mismatches in the cash balances, or addressing temporary mismatches in the cash balances. Can you just look at the table, all of you? Just spend some time on the table. समझ में आ रहा है? Can you quickly take this down? And अगर ये भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो ये भी है. This is an example. And यहाँ पे मैंने लिखा है only for understanding because this is not going to happen in real life. चलो ठीक है, ब्रेक ले लेते हैं 5 मिनट for me. ठीक है? तो you guys take down and take a break of 2 minutes. Okay. So just see the list of things which I said basics to understand. The first is what is the meaning of debt? Then sources of borrowings. Why does the government borrow money? Sources of borrowing, duration of borrowing, and purpose of borrowing. So we have covered the basics. Now let's understand mechanism of borrowings, right? Mechanism of the borrowings. Mechanism of borrowings. Okay. So the question is, how is the government actually borrowing money? Okay. Remember, I told you that whenever government wants to borrow money, government issues a financial instrument which is called as bond, which in case of government of India, we call it as government securities. So, step one, what actually happens is government issues what is called as government security. That's a step one. Once the government issues the government securities, step two, RBI will sell the government securities on behalf of the government. Government will issue the government security, but the government is not selling that government security directly to the investors. To whom will the government give that government security? RBI. And RBI will sell that government security. So obviously, when RBI wants to sell government security, there has to be a platform through which government security has to be sold. That platform through which RBI sells government security is very interestingly called as, look at this platform name, क्या है ये? E-Kuber platform. So let's say I am RBI, I will sell this government security through the E-Kuber platform, and let's say you all are investors. Please look at the list of investors who can purchase the government securities. एक बार देखो. I told you internal borrowings ना, वहाँ पे कौन कौन है? RBI is there, financial institutions are there, retail investors are there, primary dealers. So all these people can purchase the government securities from the RBI on the E-Kuber platform. So step 3, what happens is RBI gets money by selling government securities. Like I told you, bonds have 3 specific features. First feature is face value. Second one is maturity. Third one is coupon rate. So whatever is the face value, that much money the RBI will get. RBI will get the money by selling government security. Will RBI keep this money with itself? Whatever money it gets, that money RBI will forward or give it to government. Step 4, RBI gives this money to the government. Clear hai? But government security also has one more feature, which is maturity. The bond will mature one or the other day. So the investors will not go to government to ask for their money. Investors will go to whom? RBI. So step 5, RBI pays back the amount to the investors upon the maturity of government security. But will RBI pay from its pocket? Who will give money to RBI? Government once again. So RBI pays back the amount to the investors upon the maturity of government security. And this is doing on the behalf of the government. So what is RBI actually doing? RBI is just acting like a intermediary, middleman between the government and the investors. That's it. Asan hai? Everyone is understood. So please quickly take this down. Obviously. RBI will earn commission on this because it is managing the government borrowings, no? ठीक है, everyone? Okay, fine. Right now, okay, if you have a notebook, just give me this notebook. I would want everyone to write down the next part in this format. I say, because we are going to discuss in detail about the different types of government securities. So even in government securities also we have dated securities, state development loans, cash management bills, treasury bills. All of that we're going to discuss in detail. So that is what I'm going to discuss that. Okay. So the heading is government borrowings. Make the heading government borrowings. And with respect to government borrowings, on one side, this side, right, government borrowings from market. Government borrowings from market. In the bracket, right, within India. Government borrowings from market in the bracket within India. And is taraf, we can write government borrowings from, yes, RBI. So if you go back to that particular diagram, where we discussed government borrowings, the source of government borrowings, I told you internal borrowing and external borrowing. what I'm doing is within internal borrowing, I'm dividing it to two. One is RBI and the second one is from rest of the market, excluding RBI. Okay. Here, when I say when the government is borrowing money from the market, I can categorize this into two types. Let's first focus upon long-term borrowings. And I told you long-term means what is the duration? More than 1 year. Long-term borrowings is always more than 1 year. And this long-term borrowings, which is more than 1 year, this is allowed for both central government as well as the state government. Both center and state can borrow long-term loans more than 1 year. So what happens here? When you see central government will issue a government security, which we call it as dated bonds. That's the first one. I told you dated bonds, any bond for that matter will have three features: face value, next is maturity, and the third one is coupon rate. Because we are talking about what kind of borrowing? Long-term borrowing. The maturity of dated bond is always more than 1 year. समझ में आया? Okay. So that is dated bond. Similar to center issuing dated bond, the states in India, states will issue another type of government security which is called as state development loans. In short, we write this as SDL. SDL, once again, same like the dated bonds will have face value, maturity, because we are talking about long-term borrowing, it is always more than 1 year, and it will also carry coupon rate. समझ में आया? Both are same, but the only difference is in terms of nomenclature. नाम में difference है. If bond is issued by center, we call it as dated bond. If it is issued by state, we call it as state development loans. Clear? This is long term. Similar to that, from the market, they can even go for short-term borrowings. And when I say short-term borrowings, it is always less than 1 year. And what you should know, very interestingly, this short-term borrowings is allowed only for, yes, center. Long-term, both center and state. Short-term, only the center. States are not allowed. ठीक है? Okay. What will the central government issue here to borrow short-term loans? It will issue, center in this particular case will issue what is called as, look at its name, treasury bills. This is our third type of government security. First type government security का नाम क्या था? Dated bond. Second वाला state development loan. Third वाला treasury bills. Treasury bills, please understand here. Treasury bills, if you see, point number 1, they will have a face value, just like your dated bond. They will have a this one face value. Second, if you see their maturity, what do you think will be the maturity period of treasury bill? It is always less than 1 year. It is always less than 1 year. And what happens here is, depending upon the maturity, there are 3 types of treasury bill, depending upon what? The maturity. Like I would say here, कैसे याद रखना है? Okay. Okay. Like we have one type of treasury bill called as T91. When I say T91 means maturity period कितना होगा इसका? 91 days. Its maturity period is 91 days. So maturity period T91. And you just have to multiply this into 2 every time. 91 into 2 कितना होगा? 182. So you have T182. 182 into 2. 264 or 364? C side पे काम करना है. So third one is 364. So third type is 364 days. So how many types of treasury bills we have? T91, T182 and T364. Should we multiply 364 into 2? Why? Because maximum number of days in a year is 365. So we'll stop at 364. Samay aaya, everyone? Okay. Okay. Apart from that, what I want to tell you here, I deliberately left the third point blank. Please write down the third point. Treasury bills are always issued at discount. Treasury bills are always issued at discount and redeemed at face value. Treasury bills are always issued at discount and redeemed at face value. Full stop. Thus, treasury bills are zero coupon securities. Thus, treasury bills are zero coupon securities. Okay. So please read what you have written. Treasury bills are always issued at discount. To what? Face value. They are always issued at discount and they are redeemed at face value. You don't get any interest on treasury bill. So for dated bond, you'll have face value, you'll have maturity, and you'll have coupon rate. But for treasury bill, you do not get any kind of coupon rate. How does it work? Just pay attention, everyone. Let's say there is a treasury bill. Its maturity is 91 days. And let's say its face value is equal to rupees 100. Look at what did I say? Treasury bills are always issued at what? Discount. You go to shopping, you want to purchase something. On that you have MRP written. उसके ऊपर 40% discount है. Are you purchasing the product at MRP or 40% discount? 40% discount. Same way, treasury bills are always purchased at discount. So let's say this is me, I'm purchasing it. What I may do is, I may purchase T-bill at discount of, let's say, rupees 95. I'm getting it at 5 rupees less. After 91 days, I will get how much? I will get rupees 100. I purchase at 95. After 91 days, I'm getting 100, which means how much is the profit which I have made? 5 rupees. Will I call this as interest? No, this is not interest. This is profit. Because T-bills are always zero coupon securities. समझ में आया सबको? How do you think this discount price is calculated? कैसे पता चलता है कि क्या डिस्काउंट रहेगा? No, nothing related to repo rate. Huh? नहीं. Okay, it's a very easy thing. There's an auction basically. It's not very important, but there's an auction which is done. Let's say I am RBI and I am auctioning this treasury bill. Which platform? EcoBear. So its face value is rupees 100. Let's say Hemant bids. Hemant says, for example, he says, give me this treasury bill at rupees 90. I'm RBI. He says, give me this treasury bill at rupees 90. So how much money is he going to give to me? He is going to give me 90 rupees. And at the end of which, how much money will he get back? 100 rupees. So if he is purchasing it at 90, how much profit he is keeping for himself? 10 rupees. Let's say Ashu says, give me this T-bill at 91. So how much profit is he asking for? 9. And let's say Shiva says, give me this at 95. How much profit is he asking for? 5. तो बताओ किसको देना है मुझे? शिवा को या हेमंत को? शिवा को, because he is asking for less amount of profit. So what Shiva is doing, Shiva is giving me 95. In return, he is asking for 100. But Hemant is giving me just 90 and in return is asking for 100. I hope you understood this. It's a kind of auction which takes place on the EcoBear platform. Huh? Minimum? We'll discuss when we come to repo rate. That's a different thing. Okay. Yahan tak clear hai, everyone? You understood treasury bill? Okay. So please write, for example, a treasury bill with a face value, you can move to the next page. अगर वो वहाँ पे नहीं हो रहा है तो move to the next page. Ashum, I'm saying to you. Next page. Okay. For example, a treasury bill with a face value of rupees 100. A treasury bill with a face value of rupees 100 may be purchased may be purchased at a discount, may be purchased at discount at rupees 95, at rupees 95, full stop. Upon maturity, upon maturity, upon maturity, investor would get rupees 100. Upon maturity, investor would get rupees 100. Okay. So who can issue treasury bills? Only the center. So after within the short term borrowing आपने पहला treasury bill लिखा है, उसके नीचे write one more government security, cash management bills. Below this, move to the next page. Move to the next page, cash management bills. Okay. In that cash management bill, right, can be issued only by center. Can be issued only by center. Can be issued only by center. Second point. Similar to treasury bills. Similar to treasury bills. Similar to treasury bills. That is issued at discount and redeemed at face value. That is issued at discount and redeemed at face value. Issued at discount and redeemed at face value. तो डिफरेंस क्या हो गया फिर ट्रेजरी बिल एंड कैश मैनेजमेंट बिल में? Yes, third one. However, the maturity of cash management bills is always less than 91 days. Okay. So in simple words, ऐसे सोचो, if you're getting confused, if center wants to borrow long-term loans, for that it will issue what is called as dated bonds. Dated bonds will have face value, they will have coupon rate, and they will also have maturity. And if the center wants to borrow short-term loans, if it wants to borrow short-term loans for 91 days and more, then it will issue treasury bills. For less than 91 days, it will issue cash management bills. And state will issue what? Only the state development loans. Are we done with this? Clear hai yahan tak? Okay. So please write. After that, note. हाँ, अगर if it is not, अगर उसी में नहीं आ रहा तो next page पे लिख सकते हो. I won't want this to be in a form of table like this. Market borrowings सारे एक तरफ, RBI के borrowings एक तरफ, and if it is not coming in one page, write that in the next page. So that's a continuation. Right? Note. Government securities are of four types. Government securities are of four types. Government securities are of four types. Put a hyphen and write. Dated bonds, SDL, dated bonds, SDL, T-bills, and cash management bills, CMBs. The states, the state, the states can issue only SDLs. The states can issue only SDLs. ठीक है? ओके, उसको समराइज करते हैं. हाउ डू समराइज दिस? Okay, just look at this summary here. Dated securities you have. Dated security, who is borrowing? Center is borrowing. From where it is borrowing? Market. Same as bonds. SDL, who is borrowing? State. From where? Market. Similar to bonds. Treasury bills, cash management bills, both by center, both they are borrowing from market, both features are same. Issued at discount, redeemed at face value. Zero coupon bonds, they do not carry any interest. T1, T92, sorry, T91, T182, and T364. हाँ, like I said, they are also always issued at discount and redeemed at face value. ठीक है, तो एक बार लिख लेना समरी, उसके नीचे लिखना ना समरी. So that, next time what you should do, I'll tell you, when you're revising your class notes, instead of revising the entire thing that you have mentioned, directly jump to the summary. If you see this table, which you have there in your notes, that shows the entire summary of our discussion. Go back to what I've dictated only if you have confusion in any of this thing. Please write this down. And do not write this WMA जो white में आया है यहाँ पे. Please do not write about this. Just a table quickly. Online students, any doubts? Let me know if you have any doubts. And please go back home today and revise all of this government securities, because repeatedly questions are asked with respect to government securities in the previous year prelims. I'll show you the questions also. Done? Everyone? Okay. So we are done with one part. That is government borrowings from where? From the market. Now we'll get into the government borrowings from RBI. But before that, we'll take up some practice questions. Please read this question. Online students, please respond the answer to this question as well. Take your time. Prelims 2018 question. What is the answer? Take your time. No need to hurry. Bharat? Soumya? Hemant? 2 and 3? Surname? First one, first statement. Is it right? Wrong hai? Why? तो वो तो same it is saying ना कि it is managed only for center. It is saying that RBI is managing only the central government securities but not any state government securities. Is that right? Soumya? Is the statement right or wrong? हाँ Soumya. You said 2 and 3 ना तो हाँ वरुण हाँ wrong है हाँ you be confident. I just try to confuse you guys. It's right only. What you said is right. The first statement is wrong because RBI is managing the central government securities. Which are the central government securities? Dated bonds, treasury bills, cash management bills. Is RBI managing state government security also? Yes. What is it called as? State development loans. So it says RBI manages and services government of India securities, but not any state government securities, which is obviously wrong. It is managing state government securities. Treasury bills are issued by government of India and there are no T-bills issued by the state government. Treasury bills are issued at a discount from the par value. Par value means face value. Answer is 2 and 3 only. Is everyone clear? Okay. Parth. Both center and state can borrow long-term loans from the market. Both can borrow long-term loans. Vaishali? Only the center can borrow short-term loans from the market? Yes. Soumya? Treasury bills can be issued only by center. Bharat? Shiva? ट्रू है ना हाँ ट्रू है ऐसे कंफ्यूज कर रहा हूं मैं शिवा हाँ वरुण ट्रू Soumya has got to know that and let me see if others have got. Hemant? False है. Why? यहाँ पे लास्ट में क्या लिखा है भरत कॉन्सेंट्रेशन कहाँ है यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है यहाँ तक तो आपने पढ़ लिया T-bills are zero coupon securities issued by center to borrow short-term loans. But from whom? It is from market, not RBI. Okay, Shiva. Issued at discount and redeemed at face value. Hemant. Cash payment bills are issued only by center. They are not issued by states. Ashu. Cash management bills are zero coupon instruments with maturity period of less than 91 days. It is true. Yeah, it is actually true. Okay, chalo. So we are done with the RBI borrowing, sorry, government borrowings from market. Now we'll move to the government borrowings from RBI, the other side. Okay. So with respect to RBI, government borrowings from RBI, I'll dictate these things. थोड़ा सा complicated है. So I would want you guys to pay attention. So we discussed government borrowing money from market. Now we are discussing government borrowing money from RBI. Just like market borrowings, even the government borrowings from RBI can be categorized into two types: long-term borrowings and short-term. We are going to focus on long-term borrowings. So understand, if the government is borrowing money from the market, I told you different steps involved. So what is the first step? One, government will issue government security. Step 2, RBI will sell the government security. Step 3, RBI gets the money from the investors. Step 4, RBI will repay the money to the investors upon maturity. On whose behalf? On the behalf of the government. This is what we have covered. Let's see how is government actually borrowing money from RBI. Let's compare and contrast the steps involved. Same like here, if the government wants to borrow money, long-term loans from the RBI, government will issue government security. Just like that. First step is same. But in the second step, if the government wants to borrow money from market, what is RBI doing to that government security? RBI is selling that government security on the eCubear platform. But here, what RBI does, RBI keeps government security as an asset with the issue department. All of you just check your notes on minimum reserve system. Open karo, minimum reserve system. On that minimum reserve system, what should be the assets of the issue department? Gold, foreign currency assets, government securities. So in the second case, RBI is not selling government security to the investors. RBI is keeping that government security as an asset with itself. Now, for example, let's say this government security has a face value of 100 crores, just as an example. So what happens in this case is, the assets of issue department, can I say, will increase by 100 crores or not? What is the basis of printing notes? Assets and liabilities both should be same. So if the assets are increasing by 100 crore, what will RBI do in this case is, issue department will print additional 100 crore notes. And to whom will it give this 100 crore notes? Government. So step 5, issue department lends 100 crore to the government. That's it. समझ में आया सबको? So imagine if you are a government and I am the RBI. If you want to borrow money from me, don't you think it is very easy for you to borrow money from me? You just have to give me a piece of paper. On that piece of paper, you just have to write, I, Government of India, wishes to borrow so and so amount of money for so and so period, for which I will pay you this much interest. I, as a issue department, will get that paper. I will happily keep that paper as my asset. Against that, I will print notes and give that money to you. समझ में आया सबको? यहां पे क्या हो रहा है? Can I say the issue department or RBI is printing new notes for financing government's deficit. In the first case, to finance a deficit, where is the government borrowing money from? Government is borrowing money from market. Are we printing new money when it is borrowing from the market? No, no. It is just changing hands. Like in this case, you have government, you have bank. Bank is just lending money to the government. There's no new money which is getting created. But in this case, you have government, you have RBI. RBI is giving money to the government. It's a new money which is getting printed. So this mechanism, we call it as yes, look at this word. What is it? Monetization of deficit. Monetization in this case means creation of new money to finance deficit. ठीक है? Don't you think it is very easy in India to print money? Because ultimately to print money, what you need? You just need a piece of paper. On that, you should have a promise of the government. Ki I am the government and I am borrowing so and so amount of money, I'll repay that money. That's it. That's how we can print money in India. Think if you want to buy gold, gold requires money. If you want to purchase foreign currency assets, it requires money. So what's the most easiest way to print money? By having this kind of government security. समझ में आया सबको? Everyone? Take your time. In yesterday's class, I told you about the assets and liabilities of the issue department. Na? Against government securities, कितना asset था? Zero था. Why? If against government securities is equal to zero, it means issue department has not printed any notes by keeping the government securities. Why? Okay, we'll come to that point. But I hope meanwhile, did you understand this concept of monetization deficit? Everyone? No doubts यहाँ पे? Okay? Okay, चलो. If that is the case, tell me, for example, let's say you are the government and I am the RBI. You borrowed 100 crores from me for 5 years. When the bond matures, I will obviously come to you. I as RBI will come to you and I'll ask you, मुझे अपना पैसा वापस कर दो. कितना पैसा है? 100 crore. Let's say you don't have money to pay me back. What will you do then? If you don't have money to pay me back, what will you do? Huh? Huh? Easy. Like if I come to you कि मुझे अपना पैसा चाहिए, यू विल टेक अनदर पेपर, उसमें लिखोगे 200 करोड़ एंड यू विल से ये पेपर रख लो अपने पास, 200 करोड़ प्रिंट करो, 100 आपने पास रखो एंड 100 फिर से मुझे दे दो, एंड उसका 5 साल हो गया, 200 crores, I come to you and I say 100 crores and I say once again the bond is matured, I want my money back. Once again you'll take out a paper, उसमें लिखोगे 200 crores and you say you take this. Can the government ever default on repayment of loans? I hope you understood default. Default means will the government be in a position that it will not repay back the loans? Never. Government can never default on repayment of loans because we have a printing machine. Government तो print unlimited notes ना, government can print unlimited notes. Notes print करने के लिए क्या चाहिए? बस पेपर चाहिए जिसके ऊपर लिखा है government is borrowing so and so amount of money. That paper will give to RBI and it will say to RBI print notes and give it to me. That's it. I hope it's clear. But problem is, if you do it repeatedly, the money supply in the economy will increase. We'll come to that part later. But I hope you understood the concept of monetization of deficit. So write on monetization of deficit. Okay. What happened? That's it. The right hand side पे you written na government borrowings from RBI. Under that, write long term borrowings first. Long term borrowings. Long term borrowings. And in the bracket, allowed only for center. उस तरफ देखो, long term borrowings from market. That's the reason you need to have this kind of table so that you can compare and contrast easily. For the market, long-term borrowings is allowed for both center and state. From the RBI, it is allowed only for the center. Okay. So, right. Step 1, right. Long-term borrowings. Step 1, government issues government security. Step 1, government issues government security. Step 2, government issues government security. Step 2, RBI keeps this government security. RBI keeps this government security as an asset with the issue department. RBI keeps this government security as an asset with the issue department. As an asset with the issue department. In the bracket, right? RBI does not sell it on the eCuber platform. In the bracket, right? RBI does not sell it on the eCuber platform. Third, as the assets of the issue department increase, as the assets of the issue department increase, comma, the issue department prints equivalent value of notes. As the assets of the issue department increase, comma, the issue department prints equivalent value of notes. For example, if the face value of government security is 100 crores, for example, if the face value of government security is rupees 100 crores, comma, issue department would print notes worth 100 crores. Issue department would print notes worth 100 crores. Next step. These newly printed notes, these newly printed notes are then lent as loans. These newly printed notes are then lent as loans to the government. Next para. As seen above, as seen above, as seen above, this process involves printing new money. This process involves printing new money to finance government's deficit. To finance government deficit. Full stop. Hence, it is called as monetization of deficit. Hence, it is called as monetization of deficit. Hence, it is called as monetization of deficit. Please underline that word, monetization of deficit. Next para. Monetization of deficit. Next para. Monetization of deficit is not prohibited in India. Please underline that word, is not prohibited in India. Okay, just pay attention. If we give complete freedom to the government to monetize the deficit, especially looking at the times that we are living in, what will the government do? Government will keep on asking RBI to print notes, and that notes the government will use it for welfare, especially for vote bank politics. You must have repeatedly heard of that particular term of Prime Minister Modi, which he calls as Revdi culture. Suna hai Revdi culture? Revdi culture basically means freebies. Like in today's time, political parties are competing with one another to give a lot of freebies to the people, like free bus travel, free electricity, free bicycles, free laptops. In some states like Tamil Nadu, earlier they used to give free Mangal Sutra also when people used to get married. It used to happen. So that kind of money government will obviously spend on freebies. If government is spending too much money on freebies by printing money, two problems. Problem number one, money supply will increase. And if money supply increases too much, what will it lead to? Inflation. Problem number two, government borrows too much money. What will happen to borrowings of the government, debt of the government? It will increase. So we are not given a free hand to the government for monetizing the deficit. It is allowed. But government can monetize its deficit only under exceptional circumstances. What do you think those exceptional circumstances are? It's like national security, war, and so on. Okay? So what was the last point? Is not prohibited in India, right? Full stop. However, excessive printing of notes, excessive printing of notes can lead to increase in money supply, can lead to increase in money supply, and cause inflation. Can lead to increase in money supply and cause inflation. Full stop. Thus, monetization of deficit. Thus, monetization of deficit is allowed under FRBM Act. Under FRBM Act 2003. यहाँ पे बिल्कुल नया एक्ट. Do not worry about it. We'll be discussing about FRBM Act in the chapter of taxation. So we'll be taking a deep dive into FRBM Act. As of now, just know that we have an act in India called as FRBM Act. Okay. So what is the last line? Allowed under FRBM Act only in certain exceptional circumstances. Only in exceptional circumstances such as national security, war, calamity, national security, war, calamity, collapse of agriculture, structural reforms, and decline in GDP. Okay. So please focus here. Is monetization of deficit prohibited in India? It is not prohibited. It is allowed. But allowed only in exceptional circumstances. Which law says that? FRBM Act. So after this, write note below this. FRBM Act to be discussed. FRBM Act to be discussed in the chapter of taxation. FRBM Act to be discussed in the chapter of taxation. And if you are confused what is the full form of FRBM Act, you can write fiscal, not physical, fiscal, FIS, fiscal responsibility and budgetary management act. Fiscal responsibility and budgetary management act. Okay. So I would want everyone go back home. We have covered one of the most important part of the chapter of RBI, which is the role of RBI as a debt manager. Mostly by tomorrow's class, we'll be done with the chapter of RBI by tomorrow's class. So ensure that you read all of this. So can we have a test on Saturday? हाँ, Saturday के दिन? Sunday? Is that okay? Okay, Sunday. Okay, I think I also got a current affairs class. No, I have a class on Saturday. It got changed this time. इस बार change हुआ है. I normally have class on Sundays. It got changed. This time it is on Saturday. Okay, anyways, next week, starting from Monday, any day, be ready for the test. The test will include 100 questions. Obviously, that 100 questions will be from the chapter of RBI, plus the NCERT textbook also. Indian Economic Development. Remember I told you? That NCERT textbook. Complete that. Huh? हाँ, पूरी. 10th class का textbook है. You should be able to complete it. Okay? But the priority for you should be to class notes. Okay? So start preparing for the test religiously. Go back home. जो कुछ भी हमने जो डिस्कस किया है, please revise that thoroughly. Now, what is the guarantee that the money we print in India will always flow abroad? कंट्री के बाहर रुपी को कौन एक्सेप्ट करेगा? रुपी इज नॉट इंटरनेशनल करेंसी ना. अगर डॉलर प्रिंट करते हैं तो फिर भी ठीक है, because dollar is internationally acceptable. Rupee is not internationally acceptable. Rupee is not international currency yet.